All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin this final exam. So in problem number 1, we're going to have to distribute the negative 2k through the parenthetical expression. And so that's going to equal negative 2k minus 10k squared plus 10k. And now we combine like terms. So the negative 2k and the 10k, they can come together. It's basically like subtraction. And we end up with 8k minus 10k squared. Okay, B. Moving on, we're asked to simplify a radical expression. So the most important thing is the 32. We need to come over here and write down 32 and actually prime factor this. So that's going to be 2 times 16, 2 times 8, 2 times 4, 2 times 2. So there's all 2's, right? There are 5 2's. And we're going to rewrite the radical as the product of those prime numbers. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 square root 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times b. And then draw a big bar over there. Every group of doubles, like I got 2 sets of 2 2's and 1 set of 2 b's. Every time I do that, I can pull out a single one of those numbers. I'll show you what I mean. So now I'm going to write that 2 that was there times this 2 times this 2 times this b. Okay? And then I put the square root symbol and then the 2 that remains. Okay? Now I just multiply what's outside. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8b square root 2. And that's how you simplify a radical. Number 3, find the distance between 2 points. The most important thing is to label x1, y1, x2, y2. And then you have to write out the distance formula. Distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, all underneath the root symbol. And you just plug in the numbers. So d equals the square root of x2 is 6 minus x1, which is negative 8. So that's going to end up being a plus squared plus open parentheses y2 is negative 2 minus y1, which is 5 squared, all underneath the root symbol. Keep simplifying. So this is 14 squared. And then negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. So we say plus negative 7 squared. That's got to be in a parentheses, all underneath the root symbol. So I have no idea what 14 squared is. I can do it. 14 times 14. So that's so 4 times 4 is 16, and this is 56, and then 4 and 1, so 196. Okay. So d equals the square root of 196 plus, now negative 7 times negative 7 is equal to positive 49, so it's 196 plus 49, all underneath the root symbol. Well, let's see what that is. 196 plus 49. 6 plus 9 is 15, carry the 1. 9 plus 4 is 13, plus 1 is 14, carry the 1. 245. So d equals the square root of 245. Because it's distance, we're only interested in the positive root, and we need to prime factor this, okay? So 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11, so it's not divisible by 3, but it's an odd number, so the next prime number is 5. So I'm going to take 245 and divide by 5. 5 goes into 24 times with 4 as a remainder. 5 goes into 45 9 times with no remainder. And then 49 is broken down into 7 times 7. So what we're really looking at here is D equals the square root of 5 times 7 times 7. So we do the same thing. We take that pair of 7s and pull one of them out. So D is equal to 7, cancel those out inside, square root 5. And that's how you do that. It seems like a lot of work, but really this stuff right here, this is 3rd, 4th, 5th grade math. It's not hard. Okay, so I think we're already on number 4, and we're dividing polynomial division. It's not hard. We'll just have to write it out like a division problem, like a long division problem. 9x squared minus 40x minus 25 divided by x minus 5. Put that in parentheses. Now, you got to ask yourself, what times x equals 9x squared? And the answer is 9x. So then you multiply the 9x by both terms inside that binomial. 9x times x is 9x squared. That's what you want. 9x times negative 5 is negative 45x. It's not important that this column matches, but it is important that this matches. So what we do now is draw a line, put this in parentheses, and put a big minus sign out here that we're going to distribute. So we do 9x minus 9x, and that cancels. It should always cancel. Negative 40x minus negative 45x is like adding 45 to negative 40. So you're going to end up with positive 5x. And then you bring down this minus 25. And you ask yourself, what times x equals 5x? And the answer is 5. Right? So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Whenever you see the thing is stacked on top of the thing that's the same, you know there's not going to be any remainder, but here's the work. Put it in parentheses, cancel, cancel, no remainder. So this is your quotient, 9x plus 5. Okay. Moving on to number 5, we're trying to find the quotient of 2 fractions. Now the first step is to take 5 1/3 and actually convert that into an improper fraction, an improper fraction. So that's 5 times 3 plus 1 over 3. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16 over 3. So now I'm dividing 7/4 by 16/3, which means I'm multiplying 7/4 by the reciprocal of 16/3, or 3/16. 7 times 3 is 21. 4 times 16 is 64. So 21/64. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 is not divisible by 3. Therefore, the only factors of 21 are 3 and 7. Both of those are primes, so this is an unfactorable prime. And so we're done. C. Solve each equation. So this is a single variable equation. It's just long, okay? So we have to, what we're going to do first is distribute the negative 7 and distribute the negative 3. And that's where we'll start. So I'm going to write negative 21 minus 14v. And then negative 3 times negative 7v, that's going to be plus 21v. Negative 3 times negative 7 is also plus 21. And I still got to write the right side equals negative 6v minus 7v. Okay, so on the right side, I can combine those like terms, and here I can combine these like terms. And notice this, the negative 21 and the positive 21 actually cancel out. So life is getting easier. So the next step of this is to add negative 14 to positive 21, and that'll give you positive 7v equals negative 6 minus 7 is negative 13, right? Yeah. So that's going to be negative 13v. And so now we just add 13v to both sides. And on the right side, students often don't understand what to put there when they eliminate. It's a 0. And so now here we have 13 plus 7, which is 20. We have 20v equals 0. And at this point, you might be wondering what the heck is going on. But we're just going to proceed and divide both sides by 20. And now v equals 0 divided by 20. Anything 0 divided by anything is 0. So v equals 0. So the answer is actually A, 0. Strangely enough. Moving on. Number 7, solve each equation by factoring. We just need to find two numbers that when added together are 1 and when multiplied together are negative 30.
Teacher, sorry for the interruption. Students, if you helped me the other day in the library with our focus group for the library, please come to the library really quickly. I have a gift for you. See you in a sec. Bye.
You're looking for two numbers that add to be 1. Look at the screen if you're watching. You want the two numbers to add to be the middle term and multiply to be the last term. Okay? Sorry. All right, so I need two numbers that add to be 1 and multiply to be negative 30. Can you think of it? It's really a head game. Think about two numbers that multiply to be 30. Just shout it out. 1 and 30? Okay, but 1 plus 6 and 5, right? So can you put a negative sign with one of those so that the sum is 1? Which one do you put the negative with, the 6 or the 5? The 5, right? So here's what you're going to do. We're going to take this quadratic equation, n squared plus n minus 30 equals 0. And we're going to write instead n plus 6 times n minus 5 equals 0. So those were those factors that y'all came up with, 6 and negative 5. Now all you have to do is set each factor equal to 0. So n plus 6 equals 0. N minus 5 equals 0. So we subtract 6 from both sides. N equals negative 6. We add 5 to both sides. N equals 5. So those are your two solutions, positive 5 and negative 6. So it's D. Okay, evaluate using the values given. So this is super simple. Just replace the numbers. Replace the letters with the numbers. So 6 plus Q is 1. So 6 plus 1 minus Q, which is 1. Minus open parentheses P, which is 1, minus P, which is 1. Okay, so this is looking weird. So let's do the inside the parentheses first. So I got 6 plus 1 minus open parentheses 0. So now we do negative times 0 is still 0. So now I got 6 plus 1 minus 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7 minus 1 equals 6. Okay, so I think the answer is C. Okay, so here we're just using some of our knowledge of dealing with exponents. So first I'm going to strip away the 2/3 and just set that off to the side. Then I'm going to deal with x to the 4th over x to the 4th. And then I'm going to deal with y to the 4th. Well, x to the 4th over x to the 4th, that just cancels out completely. So now I have 2 over 3 times y to the 4th power over 1. So I'll bring this back together as 2y to the 4th over 3. And that's the answer, A. Number 10, solving an inequality. Remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the sign. So our first step is to distribute the negative 4. So we'll do negative 4 times positive 4x is negative 16x. Negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28. Minus 2x greater than 118. Combine like terms, negative 16 and negative 2 are negative 18. X plus 28 greater than 118. Now I'm going to subtract 28 from both sides. So I've got negative 18x greater than 8 minus 8 is 0. Borrow here, make this 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. So negative 18v greater than 90. Now we're going to divide both sides by a negative number, which means we have to flip the sign. We're dividing by negative 18. Cancel, cancel. V is now less than negative 5. So we're looking for an open circle at negative 5 pointing to the left. So it looks like B to me. Moving on, number 11. This is just an order of operations deal. Let's deal with the parentheses first. So 7 plus 3, that's going to be 10. So I got 10 divided by 2. And then let's deal with the parentheses here. 3 minus 1 is 2, so it's 2 minus 2. Order of operations now tells us to do division. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 minus 2 equals 3. I believe the answer is B, 3. Now we're given a point and a slope. You need to label this point x1, y1, and you need to remember this point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1, and you just plug in your numbers. Y minus y1, well, that's y minus negative 1 equals m, which is 5 over 3. Open parentheses, x minus x1, well, x minus negative 3. So these both become plus signs, makes the math a lot easier. Now I'm going to rewrite the left side, y plus 1 equals. Now I'm going to distribute multiply 5/3. 5/3 times x is 5/3 x. 5/3 times 3 is just 5. Because if you notice what's going to happen, you're going to end up canceling those 3's. Now I just subtract 1 from each side. So y is going to equal 5/3 x plus 4. D. Now it's giving us 2 points, so we need to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Now we have to compute the slope. Remember, slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just plug in your numbers. That's 1 minus 5 over negative 4 minus negative 5. So negative 4 plus 5. That gives me negative 4 over positive 1. So my slope is negative 4. Now I use this equation, y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1. Plug in my numbers. Y minus y1 is y minus 5 equals m, which is negative 4, open parentheses, x minus x1, which is negative 5. That's a double negative. That becomes positive. Then we distribute the negative 4. So y minus 5 equals negative 4x minus 20. Add 5 to both sides, and you get y equals negative 4x minus 15. D. Now it's asking us for perpendicular. All you have to do is remember that if you're given a slope of negative 5 over 6 and you want the perpendicular, you flip the numerator and denominator and change the sign. So the perpendicular slope is positive 6 over 5. Now you use this as your m value, and you use this as your x1 and your y1. And so now you're going to plug that into y minus y1 equals m, open parentheses, x minus x1, close parentheses. Y minus y1 is y minus negative 3, so that's y plus 3, equals m, which is 6 over 5, the negative reciprocal of the given slope. X minus x1, that's x minus negative 5, another double negative that can be positive. You're going to distribute 6/5, so you have y plus 3 equals 6/5 x. These 5's will cancel, plus 6. Subtract 3 from both sides. You have y equals 6/5 x plus 3. B. Number 15. We're going to do this multiplication deal. The best way to do this is to make a table that is 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, it doesn't have to be an art project. We can do 6n squared plus 6n minus 7. 5n squared minus 7n minus 7. This is 30 into the fourth. This is negative 42 in third into the third. And this is negative 42 in squared. Okay. Here, this top middle box is going to be 30 n cubed. This is going to be negative 7n times 6n's minus 42n squared. Positive 6 times negative 7 is going to give me negative 42n. And then here I've got negative 35n squared, positive 49n, and positive 49. So these, you should be able to draw your tic-tacs here. These all combine like this. And so now you've got to write it out. 30 into the fourth. Negative 42 plus 30 is positive 8n cubed. Negative 42 minus 42 is negative 84n squared minus 35 is going to be negative. Did I do that wrong? Negative 84 minus 35. Is that negative 105n? Do something wrong here? Oh, it's negative 8n cubed. Negative 42 plus 30. Oh, it's negative 12, bro. Negative 12n cubed. Okay, let's double check the work here. So this is negative 42n squared. We agree. This is negative 42n squared. We agree. And this is definitely negative 35n squared. So negative 42 times 2. That's definitely negative 84. Negative 84 minus 35. Right? I don't understand. How is this not 119? Oh, it is 119. And squared. Okay, we're all good. I was just doubting myself there. Okay, now positive 49 and negative 42 gives us positive 7n plus 49. Okay, there it is. So it's B. Number 16. Okay, so we're doing an increase from $12 to $20. You write 12x equals 20. Divide both sides by 12. Okay. We don't need a stinking calculator. The greatest common factor of 12 and 20, think about it, is going to be what, 4? So divide the top and the bottom by 4 and you get 5/3. So that's 5 2/3. And that's 5.66666. No, 1 2/3. Okay, so that's 1.6666666. So what you do is, you know it's an increase, right? So you move the decimal point over 2 places, and so you say it's a 66 2/3% increase. And that's going to give you D. Okay. Moving on. Solve each system. All right. So right away, you need to try to stack, add, and eliminate. And you can do that right there. So you eliminated the y variable. So now you've just got negative x equals negative 16 over 2x equals 26. Just add them. Okay, so this is negative 1x plus 2x gives you x. Negative 16 plus 26 gives you 10. Well, now you know that x is 10. So you just plug it back in. Negative 10 plus 6y equals negative 16. Negative 10 plus 6y equals negative 16. Add 10 to both sides. 6y equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 6. Y equals negative 1. So x equals 10, y equals negative 1. Therefore, the answer is A. Number 18. Here, I can't stack, add, and eliminate. So I've got to do some work. I'm going to have to rewrite this 6. Well, I don't need to rewrite it. I just need to think, what do I multiply by the top so that one of these can be eliminated? And the easiest thing is to multiply the top equation by 2. So you're going to distribute multiply 2 to everything on top, and that'll give you negative 12x plus 6y equals 12. And then you just write the bottom equation, negative 7x plus 6y equals 7. Put the bottom equation in parentheses and subtract. Okay, so now we're doing elimination by subtraction. Negative 12x minus 7x, negative 7x is like negative 12 plus 7. So that's basically like negative 5x. These cancel, and you're left with 12 minus 7, which is 5. Divide both sides by 5. X by negative 5, I mean, and x equals negative 1. So you know x is negative 1. So you just plug it back in. So yeah, narrowed it down, but we're going to do it anyway. 12 times negative 1 plus 6y equals 12. We always show our work even though we know the answer already. This is going to be positive 12 plus 6y equals 12. So I'm going to subtract the 12 from both sides. Okay. That's going to cancel. I have 6y equals 0. Dividing anything like that, you're going to get 0. So y equals 0, x equals negative 1. So it's going to be C. Okay, number 19 is super easy. We just need a 45-degree line that goes through the origin, if I can get it to do it like that. So it's B. And then number 20, just multiply this by negative 1, distributive property. Okay, so look for y equals 1 minus x, or y equals negative x plus 1. So we're looking for a negative slope crossing at 1. B. Done.